Thank you very much. We have some executive orders that we're going to be signing right now that are very important.
President Trump has done it again. In a move that has already sent shockwaves across Washington, the president has signed a sweeping executive order that directly changes how millions of Americans will receive their Social Security payments. This isn't just a policy tweak or a minor adjustment. It's one of the biggest shifts in Social Security history. And for retirees, disabled workers, and millions of seniors relying on these benefits to survive, the stakes could not be higher. Before we get into Social Security, which is our main focus today, I want to point something out. This wasn't the only executive action signed by President Trump. In fact, just moments before addressing Social Security, he signed a series of other executive orders. Let's quickly take you live to Washington, where that ceremony was held earlier today, and then we'll come back here and break down exactly what his Social Security order means for you and your family.
Which isn't as good. Crazy. You, Gary, hold that up. Brian, hold that up. You guys were great.
Thank you, Mr. President.
No sense, just no sense. But in addition to that, you have a lot of workers that lose their job, right?
Yes, sir. 300 workers
Crazy.
saved because of you.
Good, thank you. It's an honor. There's the Golden Dome, by the way, if you're interested. There's the Golden Dome. It'll save all your lives someday, maybe. Okay, good. Thanks, Brian. You hold it up.
Yes, sir.
Next, Mr. President, we have House Joint Resolution 24. This is the same basic idea, but this relates to walk-in coolers and freezers and other refrigeration devices. Again, last-minute Biden-era regulation that hits ordinary Americans hard.
And what did they do?
They put
increase,
in...
increase the energy efficiency requirements for walk-ins, coolers, and freezers, and therefore putting an undue burden on businesses across the country. Everything from restaurants to pharmacies, hospitals were all
To a point where it didn't
impacted.
work. In other words, they made the restrictions so strong that it didn't work.
And it was going to cost them so much money to actually meet the energy efficiency standards, which didn't really save much money. So this is going to actually help our small businesses across the country, Mr. President.
Good.
Many manufacturers would have had to stop lines, shut down entire lines of businesses. And I just want to say, rescinding these, this was done days before you took office. They pushed through these regulations. They didn't think about the cost to businesses. They didn't put American interests first. They didn't put American businesses first. I am so grateful we finally have a president who's not only walking back these insane, burdensome regulations that are ultimately going to cost us Americans and American businesses, but that you are thinking about the next generation. And as we're leading into Mother's Day, some of us are trying to parent and serve this country at the same time. Thank you for welcoming my son, who is 15, with his mother serving, watching what we're doing for him and generations to come. You are making this country stronger for them. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Good luck, right? Take care of your mom. Okay, how's that? You want to hold that up there? So
Thank you.
That's a big one, isn't it, huh? Common sense. It's all about common sense, right? Okay, Will, go ahead.
So what exactly changes? For starters, Trump's executive order ties Social Security payments more directly to inflation and wage growth, but not in the traditional way. Instead of relying on the CPIW, Consumer Price Index for urban wage earners and clerical workers, the program would shift to what Trump calls a real cost of living index, which heavily factors in energy, housing, and food prices. On the surface, this looks like good news. Seniors would finally see their checks rise more quickly when costs spike. But there's a catch. Economists warn that tying benefits too closely to market swings could also mean reduced growth in years where inflation is low, limiting future increases. Beyond the index change, Trump's order creates an entirely new category of payments called American Retirement Supplements. These supplements, starting at $200 per month, would be targeted at low and middle-income seniors. For millions of retirees living on less than $1,500 a month, this could be life-changing. Imagine an extra $200 appearing in your account every month, $2,400 a year. That's enough to cover Medicare premiums, utility bills, or a year's worth of groceries. For seniors who've been struggling to stretch every dollar, this feels like a breakthrough. But the funding mechanism is where things get complicated. Trump's order doesn't magically create money, it redirects it. By restructuring payroll tax allocations and diverting funds from higher income brackets, the plan essentially redistributes Social Security money across the system. High earners who expected larger checks may now see smaller growth in their benefits, while lower earners receive more. Trump calls this fairness. His critics call it a hidden cut. And make no mistake, the political backlash is already fierce. Democrats are accusing Trump of overstepping presidential authority, claiming that such a fundamental change to Social Security should only come through Congress. Legal scholars are already debating whether the executive order will hold up in court, but Trump, as always, is betting on public opinion. By framing the change as a win for working-class retirees and struggling seniors, he believes he can force opponents to look like they're standing against America's most vulnerable citizens. For seniors themselves, the reaction has been mixed but emotional. In Florida, a retiree named Martha Johnson said, "I've been living on $1,400 a month for years. If Trump's plan gives me another $200, I don't care what the politicians say. I need the money." But in Ohio, a retired auto worker named James Miller worried, "I paid into the system my whole life. If they start changing the formulas, how do I know my benefits won't shrink down the line?" These voices reflect the national divide. Hope on one side, fear on the other. The timing of this order is also critical. America is facing record inflation, skyrocketing housing costs, and a growing crisis of senior poverty. Reports show that nearly 1 in 4 retirees in the U.S. are skipping meals or cutting medications because their Social Security checks don't cover basic needs. Against that backdrop, Trump's executive order feels like both a bold rescue and a reckless gamble. Trump himself is framing the move as part of his larger agenda to put America's seniors first. At a rally in Texas, he declared, "They told me Social Security was untouchable. They told me it couldn't be fixed. But I said, if Washington won't act, I will. Our seniors deserve better, and I'm giving it to them." The crowd roared. For many older Americans, this was exactly what they wanted to hear. Action, not promises. But opponents are already mobilizing. Advocacy groups like AARP are demanding clarity, warning that sudden shifts to Social Security could destabilize the program. Economists caution that redirecting funds without long-term solvency plans could accelerate the program's projected shortfall, which experts say could arrive as early as 2034. In other words, Trump's order may provide immediate relief but worsen the long-term funding crisis. Still, the political brilliance of this move cannot be ignored. Trump has managed to seize control of the Social Security debate in a single stroke. While Democrats have been floating ideas like John Larson's Social Security 2000-2100 Act for years without passing anything, Trump has acted unilaterally. Whether legal or not, it forces the nation to confront the issue head-on. And for seniors who care more about their next check than political theory, Trump may have already won the messaging battle. For millions of seniors across America, the practical question is simple: how soon will the money arrive? Early reports suggest that the supplemental $200 payments could start as soon as January next year, with the new cost of living adjustments appearing in February checks. That means the first quarter of the year could bring noticeable increases for millions of retirees. Direct deposits would see the difference automatically, while paper checks would carry updated amounts. But the rollout won't be smooth. Social Security's infrastructure is notoriously outdated, and implementing such sweeping changes could cause delays, errors, or even missed payments. The agency will need to reprogram systems, recalculate benefits, and handle an influx of confused and worried beneficiaries. Critics argue that the Social Security Administration isn't ready for this kind of overhaul, raising the risk of chaos in the early months. Meanwhile, the political chess game continues. Democrats in Congress are preparing lawsuits. Republicans are split between loyalty to Trump and fear of voter backlash, and seniors are caught in the middle. Some see Trump as the first leader in decades to truly shake up Social Security. Others see him as a reckless disruptor gambling with their retirement security. What cannot be denied is the urgency. America is aging. By 2030, 1 in 5 Americans will be over the age of 65. The pressure on Social Security is immense, and the current system is unsustainable. Trump's executive order may not be perfect, but it forces the conversation. It reminds Washington that seniors can't wait another decade for a solution. For now, seniors across America are checking their mailboxes and bank accounts, waiting to see whether Trump's promise translates into reality. For some, an extra $200 could mean fresh groceries, warm heat in the winter, or a chance to finally pay down debt. For others, the fear of instability overshadows the short-term gain. This much is certain: Social Security will never be the same again. Trump's executive order has cracked open a door that future presidents and lawmakers cannot close. The fight over retirement security is no longer about someday, it's about now. And for millions of American seniors, the next chapter of Social Security has already begun.